All the thoughts and views expressed in this video are the opinion of Professor Lex and for entertainment purposes only. Now, if you rock with the channel, hit that like button if you haven't hit that like button yet. And if you're on mobile, swipe left on the comments and hit that hype button for me. All right, let's get things going. The drama continues. 2 days, 2 shows about things loosely based on the Joe Budden podcast or having to do with the Joe Budden podcast. This time it is kind of a controversy over their opinions on whether Kendrick Lamar or just the Grammys in general and who should get the Grammys for the hip hop awards, etc. And if Kendrick Lamar should get the, I guess, rap album of the year for GNX. Now, I think what really made this an issue, especially on Twitter and X, is Punch tweeting out this. This is a, I don't know if this is a DM or a text message or whatever, but he is text messaging with someone who I think is Jay-Z, but it could be Kendrick, could be anybody, because he redacted the name. And it says, from Punch, he says, LOL, when did y'all become so hated? And the person he is texting says, keep winning and you'll see. And Punch says, I see. Now, this could also just be made up. He could just be poking fun at the situation. And most people took this as him responding to not only the conversation that was probably had on the Joe Budden podcast, because they also said something about Doechii being a industry plant, or they alluded to it. A lot of people have alluded to that. I'm going to do a separate video on that period. I'm probably going to do a series on industry plants and that whole history and thing, so to speak, but especially in hip hop. But this is interesting. Now, if you haven't peeped it yet on the channel, I already did a discussion on this when everybody was putting in for being nominated, right? They were submitting for being nominated for the Grammys. Now, I personally said, I think Kendrick Lamar is the greatest rapper of all time. Up until Clips dropped, Let God Sort Him Out, GNX was my hip hop album of the year and up for album of the year. But I think Let God Sort Him Out is not only the best hip hop album of this year, but the best hip hop album of the 2020s that I've heard. That's my personal opinion. Now, people, it came from me a little bit in the comments, but I didn't get too much backlash because how your history also matters in these kind of discussions. Now, they gave a lot of love to Chance the Rapper and the Starline album. I think it will be nominated, but I do agree with the sentiment that it may not win. Now, what I will say, and I'm biased, okay, being from Chicago, the Chance album in a fair and balanced system would probably win. And the Grammys, this is also an unpopular opinion, but me being a musician, as of late, since they have expanded the Academy and the voters and who they include a lot more established people. They include a lot more diversity as far as genres of music and demographics is concerned. The Grammys have gotten it right over the past few years since that expansion, right? Because they do concentrate more on the music, less on the hype, less on the fan reaction. They concentrate on the best musical compositions, in my opinion, right? That is why Kendrick Lamar has been winning so much. Now, there is still politics. There are big artists that I previously mentioned in this video who have more Grammys than they should due to optics and politics and who they're married to, etc. But I don't feel like arguing with their fan base, so I will digress. Shout out to the whole Avengers and shout out to Nas, who won that battle clearly. I go all the way back to that, and yes, I stand on it. But this is not about them. This is not about Jay-Z versus Nas or anything like that. This is about, will Kendrick start to get more hate as he starts to win? Now, I do think Kendrick, because they submitted for over 6 Grammys, right? Do I think Kendrick will come away with about 4? I do. I think he has an outside shot for album of the year. Now, the reason I don't think he has a chance at hip hop album of the year, and this is also a reason I think Chance may lose out as well, is because there's a lot of different genres on the albums, especially GNX, okay? Luther, the biggest hit off of the album, It's not a hip hop song. That is an R&B pop record. Okay? We can argue about it if you want to in the comments, but it's not a hip hop record. It's the biggest record on the album. That's not saying that the album is not still a great hip hop album, but Luther, Dodger Blue, okay? Those are more R&B records. There's a lot of sing-songy. Again, I'm not totally penalizing him for that because it's not like the clips don't have singing hooks, especially Birds Don't Sing, which is arguably the best record on that album, but it is a hip-hop record with just a singy hook, whereas Luther is pretty much just an R&B pop record. That is the truth. If you disagree, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. You're being biased, right? But I don't think that the Joe Budden podcast was being purposefully biased in that clip, and I don't think that they are totally hating on Kendrick Lamar, but as I displayed in the Nas versus Jay-Z comment that I just made, we all have some biases, right? But I do think that Kendrick, and I've said this plenty of times, a lot of the podcasters and the Joe Budden podcast fit into this demographic. The club used to be a big thing, all right? When I was younger, when they were younger, and most of them are a little bit younger than me, it used to be a big thing. And a lot of people used to see going to the club as a badge of honor and a big deal, and it made you cool, and it boosted a lot of people's confidence to say that they were going to the club and they had a good time and all those things, and that's wonderful, right? They're stuck in that mindset, and Kendrick does not make that kind of loose-minded music, and I don't mean that as an insult. I mean it as the purpose of a type of entertainment, right? So that being at the forefront does not put them at the forefront as far as what they like and what they have kind of built their personas around, right? If the music becomes more serious, more deep, more knowledgeable, emotional, all those things, if it becomes more serious, then that kind of leaves them out of what they like to listen to and talk about and be a part of. Now, the ironic part is Joe Budden throughout his career was exactly that type of artist that I just described. But I think because he wasn't in a good place in his life, he's trying to get away from that. And he was underrated, I think, because of that throughout his career, as many others were. Okay, it's a lot of the reason why Nas doesn't get the credit he deserves in a lot of spaces, because he doesn't make jump around, for lack of a better term, no offense, knucklehead music, all right? He doesn't make, I love some knucklehead music, don't get me wrong, but it has a time and a place just like all of it does, right? But if we're talking about artistry and what is the most impressive, what Nas does, what Kendrick does, what Lupe does, what Outkast did, there's so many others, is better music. It's more impressive as far as art is concerned, and all the things. It's harder to do, it's more respected, etc. So when it comes to Grammys, those people, Kanye West, I forgot to mention, shout out to Kanye. He is responsible for, I think, a lot of the change in hip hop as far as depth of the art being pushed to the forefront again, despite what he's on right now. But we are going to have people try to hold on to the party club, strip club, I'm jiggy, I'm young still. They're gonna hold on to that, right? And they're not going to try to let the genre move forward because a lot of people are kind of stuck to their quote unquote glory days. You're gonna hear it. You're gonna hear it from these guys. It's gonna happen. But times change, things change. It's a cycle. It's moved back to things being more about something because we're living in serious times and people don't want to hear, for lack of a better term, curse word incoming bullshit all the time. They don't want to hear it. We had enough of that. Okay, the Drakes, the Futures, all of these, the semi-talented artists, overblown, overrated artists. I can't wait to do the Industry Plant video to talk about this more in depth, but their time is over. Their time is over. The change has shifted. Everything has shifted to to what is more artistic and more mature approach. I'm really trying to be nice and not just, you know, because I don't want to be judgmental towards party music and towards what is easily popular, commercial, and sellable, right? That has its place. But the hate is going to come not because they're winning. I don't agree with that part. But Kendrick has said many reasons in many lines. I learned that niggas don't like the West Coast, but I'm fine with it. I'll push the line with it. That's part of it as well, right? But also, A dot, can I get a drop? I'm like, nigga, nah, right? That's a big part of it too, because they don't just smile and kiki with everybody. And a lot of these people in this industry are locked into being fake and they think it's okay, and it's really not. It's really not. In other areas of the world, that's just not how we get down, okay? With the fake fraud, brother, friends, all of that nonsense. That's not how a lot of us get down. So will there be some bias against Kendrick Lamar if he stays, and I think he will, stays the way he is and kind of be a recluse and kind of keep everything in-house to their team and their people, which I think is the smartest move they can do. So you don't end up in all this nonsense that a lot of people end up being a part of and being prisoner to other people's opinions. Yeah, I think they're going to get more hate. I don't think it has anything to do with them winning. I think it's the way they go about things, right? And I think that people are jealous of them being able to be successful and still do it that way. Still keep everything in-house, still keep their integrity, not pander to people's sounds, not pander to what the industry wants them to be. They're getting it done that way. If you look at what Nas has done throughout his whole career and what he's doing now with Mass Appeal, there are a lot of people who are very jealous of that and hating on that, but he's winning because he's supposed to, and that's the way it goes. That is all I have on this subject matter. Let me know what you think about everything I said in the comments below. Some of the things I said was a little much, but hey, it's the truth. It's how I feel. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit that like button if you haven't hit that like button yet. I'm starting to run out of breath. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Swipe left on their comments if you are on mobile and hit that hype button for me. Share this video. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank y'all for watching as always, and we out.